Mommy. Mommy.
Good morning, baby.
Mommy, I had a bad dream last night.
Oh, baby. Daddy's still asleep. We'd better be quiet.
Read to me, Mommy.
Not now, darling. We'll wake up Daddy.
Please, Mommy.
Morning. I thought this was to be the age when he'd let us get some sleep.
I'm sorry, dear. We didn't mean to wake you up, did we, Paul?
Well, I better get up now.
I have to get up too, dear.
Daddy, you read to me.
Oh, no, not now. Daddy has to get ready for work. We'll read it when I come home tonight. How's that? Helen, there's a button off this shirt.
Oh, dear. Just a minute and I'll get my button box. I hope I can find one like it. If I didn't want a shirt button, there'd be dozens of them.
Say, now, there is a button. Now, what are you saving that for?
Are you making fun of me?
Who, me?
Paul. Paul, put those scissors down. You'll cut yourself. Paul, you must never, never touch those scissors. Do you hear? You might put your eye out, baby. Now, go on and get dressed.
Let me see those scissors, Helen. Well, they're so dull they wouldn't cut paper. We bought them for Paul. He knows how to use them. I don't see how I can be late with a nice early start like this. Paul, will you please take George out of here? You're old enough to know you're making Daddy late for work. Helen, he's old enough to be taught to feel some sense of responsibility.
Responsibility? At 5? Come on now, dear. The eggs are done. Let's eat.
Come on, Paul. Breakfast ready. Paul, I'm speaking to you.
Paul, now come and drink your juice, dear. The eggs are getting cold and Daddy's late for work. Paul.
Paul, why do you worry your mother this way? She fixes you a nice hot breakfast and you just sit there and let it get cold. Now, come on now. We don't want to be any later than we are already.
I don't want any breakfast.
If you don't eat, you're going to be sick.
Helen. You know, Paul, I saw Mike Tuttle's father yesterday. Do you know how much Mike weighs now? 48 pounds. He's only 4.5. Now, if you don't eat, Mike's going to get ahead of you.
I don't care.
If you don't come to the table, Daddy might have to punish you. That's a good boy.
That's better.
I'll just take George, dear. Orange juice first, Paul.
Why?
Helen,
Because...
could I have some coffee, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I didn't know your cup was empty.
I want some toast.
Now that does it. You just leave the table and go to your room. You can be as sulky as you please all by yourself.
Jim, that was an accident. Please let him finish his breakfast. He didn't mean to upset the coffee.
No, it isn't just the coffee. It's the way he's been acting all morning. Contrary and disagreeable. Now, go on, Paul.
Jim, please let him have another chance. He's sorry. Tell Daddy you're sorry, Paul.
Paul, come back. Don't ride so fast, dear. You might fall. Paul, come here.
No, why don't you buy a heavier stocking, Helen? I was seeing in the paper the other day that there's no difference, really, in looks. The 15 denier may seem thinner, you know, but the 30 denier wears twice as long. And I got some. John told me about it, as a matter of fact, and so I got some.
They really look just as well? You know, the sales girl told me that I could buy the 15, and if they were washed before I wore them. What do you do with a child like that?
I don't think there's any danger there, Helen. It's just some rocks the youngsters like to play around.
Hey, Paul! Come on! Up through the cave! Come on!
Paul, are you all right? Are you hurt?
Mike, what happened to Paul?
He's all right. He's just scared. Mommy, I went all the way through.
Come back the way you went in, dear. Here, to me.
Oh, Mommy.
What's the matter, Paul? Are you hurt? Oh, what is it, dear? Oh, please stop crying, Paul. It's all over. Mike went all the way through and he's not crying. Now let's blow our nose and dry our eyes. We wouldn't want Mike and his mother to see us this way. Where's your mitten, dear? Did you lose your mitten in there? His father'll be furious. It's a brand new pair. Now, dear, run on back in and get the mitten. There's nothing to be afraid of, dear.
Helen, don't make Paul go back in that cave. He's scared to death.
Why, that's the only way he'll get over being frightened.
Let Mike get his mitten for him. Mike, come back through the cave and bring Paul's mitten, dear. Come on, Helen, let's go to my house and have some coffee. Mike, why don't you take Paul into the other room to play?
All right. Come on, Paul.
Alice, I just don't understand it. Why was Paul so frightened?
Well, after all, you did tell him it was dangerous.
Well, it was dangerous. You saw what happened.
Yes, he got scared.
Well, of course he did. He's only a baby. I can't let him take the chances you let Mike take.
What chances?
Well, letting him go climbing all over those rocks, for one thing.
Now, Helen, think. What's dangerous about that? All the children in the neighborhood play around those rocks. Come on, Helen. Can't you see who's scaring Paul?
Alice, it isn't just the fears. Paul is forever sulking. And Jim's so anxious to break him of it that, well, I'm afraid sometimes he's too severe with Paul. But Paul does everything to irritate Jim. Does Mike ever behave that way?
Helen, if you had heard Mike shout at his daddy yesterday, you'd stop worrying about a little sulking. He really let him have it.
Then what happened?
Well, Big Mike almost got angry, but he held himself in. He's learned to accept the idea that little boys get angry at their papas at this age, and pretty often. But they get over it.
But you can't let a child behave that way.
Oh, yes, you can. We don't let him do any real damage. What if he does shout at one of us, or bang things around a little? That's how he gets back at us when he's mad.
Well, how do you know that's the way to handle this?
Helen, I'm going to tell you a secret. Last spring, we had a lot of trouble with Mike. It was the same kind of thing. Constant sulking, too many fears, bad dreams. So I went to our doctor. He's a very understanding man, Helen, and he taught us both a lot. I had to learn that all little boys get angry with their parents. They're supposed to. And we both had to learn not to get angry back at him. It took some work. But once we really believed it, well, we're getting along fine now. And he's not having so many of those bad dreams anymore.
I think Alice is right about you not letting Paul do the things the other boys do. We don't want to make a sissy out of him.
Oh, I know, Jim. Alice is right.
Well, she's right except for one thing. I disagree with her about her not letting Paul go back into the cave and get his mitten. I think you should have made him go back and find it.
That's what I thought at first, Jim, but if you'd seen his face.
Daddy, I finished my bath.
Jim, dear, be a little bit easy on him tonight, will you?
Ah, don't you worry. Hi, young fella. Here's your towel, and here's your teddy bear to take to bed with you. Come on, young fella, you're to dry yourself.
Jim, dear, the dishes are all washed and ready.
Coming in a minute. There you are. Now brush your teeth and get all ready for bed, and then come on down and say goodnight to Mommy and me. That infernal turtle.
Daddy, you kicked George.
To your bear, darling. You mustn't put him in the water. He's not made for that. Goodness, I hope you haven't spoiled him. Paul. The brand new bear that Daddy just gave you. I'm glad he didn't see this. Now, let's not say anything to Daddy about this, Paul.
Daddy kicked George.
Well, I'm sure it was an accident, dear.
No, it wasn't.
Now, come along, Paul. Daddy's waiting to put you to bed.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hey, get your feet under. Atta boy. Get all snuggled down now. Get your head down. There we go. Good night.
Daddy,
What?
don't turn off the light.
No, we're not going to start that again, are we? I thought we went over all that. We decided you were old enough not to be afraid of the dark anymore.
Just tonight, Daddy.
Now, there's nobody in here but you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Mommy and Daddy are right downstairs. So let's just get some sleep.
Please, Daddy, leave the light.
No, Paul.
Jim, why don't you let him have the light? Please. He's still so upset from this morning.
Helen, I'm getting a little tired of this. It's time we took a stand.
But what harm does it do to let him have the light?
The sooner he learns that nothing's going to hurt him in the dark, the better for him. The better for him and the better for us.
But he's so little.
Oh, Helen, there you go, coddling him again. That only makes it harder for him in the long run. Now's the time for a little discipline.
Jim, you're not disciplining him. Don't you see that? You're just punishing him.
Mommy. Mommy,
What is it, Paul?
can I have a drink of water?
See? He's not so much frightened as wanting attention.
Of course he wants attention. Why shouldn't he?
Helen, if you go up there now, you'll have the same problem all over again tomorrow night.
Mommy.
I just want to see if he's all right.
I just saw him 2 minutes ago, and he was perfectly safe. Please, Helen.
All right, Jim.
See, I think he's asleep now. Paul, wake up. You're having a nightmare. It's all right. Mommy and Daddy are here.
Mommy!
What is it? What frightened you?
The bear! The big bear!
There isn't any bear, darling.
Make the big bear go away, Mommy.
Good Lord, Helen, he's scared of me. I won't hurt you, boy.
Jim, dear, why don't you let me stay alone with Paul for just a minute? Hmm? There's nothing to be frightened of, darling. There isn't any bear. You just dreamed it. Now, Mummy is here.
Is he all right?
He's gone back to sleep.
What's happened to the boy, Helen? I've never seen him so scared. Don't tell me it was because I wouldn't let him have the light.
No, dear, I think that's just part of it. It must take more than that to frighten a child so badly.
Well, what, Helen?
Well, for one thing, I think you and Alice may be right. Perhaps I am frightening him too much with little threats and false alarms.
Yes, I know. But he was scared of me.
I honestly think you've been pushing him too hard, Jim.
Well, I think you've been babying him.
I know, dear. I know that now. I have been keeping him too close to me. But pushing him won't help that.
How are you going to teach him not to be afraid? What are you going to do when he starts to sulk? I can stand anything but that sulking. That's the one thing my father wouldn't tolerate.
Alice tells me little boys this age get angry and sulky with their parents from time to time. And then they're afraid they'll be punished for it.
Well, what do? Just let him go hog wild?
No, but you let him get it out of his system.
Well, how?
Well, you let him yell at you sometimes without getting mad at him. And you let him take it out on his toys.
Oh, that's nonsense, Helen.
Was Paul's nightmare nonsense? Jim, I want to show you something. Paul thought you kicked his turtle tonight. He got pretty mad at you. What he did to his bear.
You think that little devil drowned the bear?
Yes, he did. Here you are, drowned.
By golly, the old man better watch his step. ahead, Paul. Go on through. Nothing in there gonna hurt you.
I don't want to.
Oh, go on. Show Daddy you're not afraid.
No, Daddy.
Oh, go on, Paul.
No!
Don't you yell at... I guess you can get pretty mad sometimes. Hi.
Hi.
Where do you want to go? Okay.
Hi. By golly, the old man better watch his step. Man, that film is so great. It's long, which is why I kind of showed it before we got started, but before we started the main thing. But, gosh, so good. Man. And so people have been commenting, like, is this Canadian? Or, well, this was made in the United States and actually features some actors, some character actors. The dad shows up in lots of things, television especially. I think I put a link in Facebook and YouTube of his IMDb credits. He's on Andy Griffith's show. He's on so many different things. Really, and all the time when I'm watching television, I'm like, oh, there he is again. It's awesome. Anyways, I'm Skip Elsheimer, and I collect old films and show them under the name AV Geeks, and that's a wonderful film from 1951 that was meant not to be shown to kids, but to parents, and kind of talk about child development and how kids behave at different stages in their life, and the emotional problems that a kid might be having at a certain age might be related to just what they're doing emotionally and developmentally, and not to freak out. And I did it as part of a show called S is for Sissy, where I showed films that talk about kids being sissies and what makes them a sissy, etc. But thanks for joining me for this. This next film is, I think we hit a little stride here, Families and Rules. This is made for kids, and this explains the concepts of why rules are important, to follow them, and how it can impact your family in a positive way. So here's Families and Rules.
Children, dinner's ready. Children, hurry up. Dinner.
Mothers are always saying that, aren't they?
Dinner's ready.
Come on, Kurt. What do you want out of school? Daddy, where's Reese?
Reese?
Hey,
Reese is
Dad,
here
I
somewhere,
got
I
a
guess.
good report
You got a
card.
good report card? Well, I'm proud of you. Yeah? When did it come?
Risa.
Come this morning? Curdy,
What?
when's your report card come this morning?
Yeah.
Where is it?
What do you want to...
Why do you suppose there are rules about coming to dinner on time?
Reese, where you been?
Well, Lisa, where were you? You came in late tonight. Every night you're late.
I'm reading.
You're reading. You love to read. I know you love to read, but you have to come to dinner on time, too. Mommy has to get everything all set. And if you're late, and Johnny comes late, and we all come late, you know, that supper will be way late, and we'll be at 9 o'clock instead of at 6. So,
You
keep it in
understand why
mind,
you should be on time?
Let me see something. Johnny, you got clean hands? How about you, Reese? Everybody got clean hands?
Maybe your hands don't look dirty. So why do families have rules about washing before they eat?
Okay, all right, that's good. All right, you can have your juice now. Good hot day like this, the juice would taste good, won't it? Huh? There's to it.
Marshall, like a lollipop.
Kurt is talking with his mouth full.
Are you talking?
Nobody can understand what he is saying.
Do that, dear. That's not.
This family likes being together so much that they seem to be breaking some rules.
Then you may talk.
And when a family breaks rules about eating, things can get pretty wild.
Girls, all this playfulness at the table. No. Behave. Girls, better table manners.
Can you tell which rules Jonna and Risa are forgetting?
Not now. Not dinner time. No. I can't hear you, Risa.
Can I read?
Can you read? Not at the dinner table, no. What do you do at a dinner table?
You eat and you
That's
put your
very good.
napkin down here to have a napkin.
That's right. That's right. Well, why don't you do that then? You do know the good table manners then.
Then I have to have another one.
You'll have to have another what, dear?
Napkin.
There's your napkin right there.
I know, but I have to have another napkin.
Why?
Because you know me.
I don't know you. No, why would you want another napkin?
Because I might waste this one.
John, it's 7:30. Time for bed.
No, it isn't.
Rules tell us what to do and what not to do.
7:30, you know why.
And there must be some sort of penalty if they are not followed.
You know why you're going to bed. You're being punished. I know you're very unhappy. Look at Mother, darling. You've been nagging your brother, bothering him, and I've told you repeatedly you are not to do that. You're going to bed at 7:30 tonight.
How come Erica does?
Erica is older than you are. She needn't go to bed that early. When you're that old, then you will be going to bed that late, too.
Rules aren't always easy to follow, and nobody likes to be punished. Jonna is angry, and she goes into Kurt's room and thinks that maybe she'll break one of his toys. Well, I guess when we're angry, we think about doing silly things.
Where's the bed, Jonah? Children, breakfast time, come!
Hey, Mom, jump on my shoe. Mommy, where's my library book?
Children, breakfast is ready. About time.
Mommy, I can't find my library book. I can't find my sneakers. And I can't find my blazer. And I can't find my watch.
Oh, children, did you look properly? Everywhere?
Does your family have a rule about getting up on time for breakfast and on time to get to school? The Leland family needs a plan to make this rule work.
Howard, breakfast is ready. Howard, here. Breakfast is ready.
I have no time for breakfast today. I'm just some juice.
Even Dad needs a better plan for getting up early enough in the morning.
Bye, John. Bye, Eric.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye. Oh, you too. Bye-bye.
Oh, what a morning.
Sometimes we have to change a rule that isn't needed anymore.
Come on, I have to hold your hand. No, you don't. I'm too old for it.
What's going on here? What is going on?
Mommy, Lisa won't hold my hand. Mommy, I don't want to hold her hand. I'm too old to.
Well, Risa, I think that's a very good point. Perhaps you are too old now. Grown up a little. You may walk just side by side, dear. All right, girls, I think you better move along now and have a good day.
Okay, bye, Mom.
Tonight, the Leland family is following a new family rule for planning ahead. Everyone wants to be ready to leave early the next morning on their trip.
Sure. You don't have to die.
Because they have planned, watch how well everything works. Jana has packed the clothes she wants to take. Kurt has his toys. Erica has her books. And Mother is in charge of the food.
Where are we going?
See, there it is, John. See, you want to know where Rome was? It's right there. See, that's Rome. No, you can't. I've got to figure out where we're going here.
Father's responsibility is to work out which roads they will use.
And they're going to see all these things here.
Everybody has planned and then carried out his own responsibilities.
And on the way, we stop.
Oh, boy. Come on, Sam.
Well,
What? Sam.
can this be the same family we all know? They seem to have followed their rules, and their rules work because they planned ahead. Now they can get away bright and early for their trip. They haven't forgotten a thing.
Have our lunch here?
You all set? Okay, move over.
They forgot to stop the mail. That's hilarious. I was looking at Vision and Associates. I feel like I know something about them. Vision Associates. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research. I have other films by them, and yeah, pretty great. Thank you, Kevin, for the coffee. That means a great deal. He basically bought me coffee via this link right here. And coffee is what we use here at AV Geeks. It's what we call the mental lubricant that drives the machinery that drives AV Geeks. And so thank you so much for contributing to that. Yeah, I did a whole show about rules and then the lack of rules and the chaos that ensues. And I might show some more of those as we keep going. What happens if you don't follow rules. This next film is, it's about auto accidents and rules. And it's not a gory driver's ed film, so don't worry about that. This is all about a fender bender and what you're supposed to do. They would have shown this in driver's ed and said, like, all right, if you do get into into an accident, here's the step-by-step of what you need to do. So here's auto accident, what to do afterwards.
No matter how good a driver you are, the chances are that someday you'll be involved in an auto accident. A first impulse might be to run, but running won't solve anything. And besides, leaving the scene of an accident is a serious offense. Often, more orderly thoughts will drift back about what to do and what not to do in the event of an auto accident. Your life and health are more important than the damage to the automobiles, so immediately check yourself over for injuries. Each driver involved in an automobile accident is legally responsible for finding out if there are injuries and to offer assistance if necessary.
Are you all right?
I think so, lady. Yeah, I think so.
Well, how's the damage?
I didn't see it. Oh, look at the car. Oh.
If you are satisfied there are no injuries, try to remove the vehicles from the roadway to avoid a collision with oncoming traffic. If the cars won't start, direct traffic around the obstruction. If you're lucky, a passerby might volunteer to help, but don't request it. If he'd get hurt, you could be held liable. The next move is to exchange driver license information with the other driver. In most states, the law requires that you show your license to both the other driver and the injured. Take down the important data: the driver's name, address, and driver's license number. Also, take the car license number and the make, model, and color of his automobile. This information can be valuable in case someone tries to substitute another vehicle when he makes out his insurance claim.
Did you see the accident?
Yes, I saw it.
Obtain the names and addresses of witnesses before they leave the scene. What a witness saw can be helpful in determining what actually happened if the other driver's story conflicts with your own.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Jack Oliver of Oliver and Jones.
It's not uncommon nowadays for a stranger to step up and offer legal assistance. When this happens, exercise extreme caution. Remember, professional people don't solicit business in this manner. Also, it's unwise to discuss the details of an accident or sign anything for anyone except the police or your insurance agent.
Mr. Wasserman, are you okay?
If at any time you suspect an injury, immediately ask someone to call the police.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, it's just a slight accident, but the driver seems...
A police report to fall back on is a good precaution anytime. You never know when a legal complication may arise. While waiting for the police to arrive, it's wise to jot down all the details you can remember while they're still fresh. You should include the condition of the pavement, weather and visibility, approximate speeds of the vehicles, and so on. It'll all come in handy when you talk with the police and for filling out the accident report for the insurance company.
Hello, officer. My name is Irving Wasserman.
When the policeman arrives, he'll ask to see each driver's identification and call the information into headquarters for verification.
Why don't you tell me again what happened, Mr. Wasserman?
The officer may also ask some questions about the accident and inquire about injuries. Always answer each of the officer's questions frankly and factually to the best of your knowledge. But be careful not to admit fault. Nor should you volunteer your own opinions about what you think happened. Just state the facts as you know them.
421 Adam Charles X-ray at 3300 Keishan Drive.
If you're lucky enough to have a camera with you, a couple of good pictures can save a lot of guesswork if a question arises later. Try to show important details like the general location of the accident, where the vehicles came to rest, how the debris is scattered, and the skid marks. A close-up should show the extent of damage to both vehicles. Pictures also make it easier to recall details you may have forgotten in the excitement. If you do not already have a list of emergency instructions, it's a good idea to make one and keep it in your car. Such a list can be helpful in reminding you of what to do and what not to do if you become involved in an automobile accident. Here are some points to remember. Remain at the scene of the accident. To leave at this time is a serious hit-run offense. If you suspect injuries, assist the injured. Leave the cars where they are and call the police. If there are fatalities, disturb nothing and notify the police. Warn oncoming traffic to avoid compounding the accident, but do so safely. If there are no injuries, remove the vehicles from the roadway if possible. And play it safe. Notify the police anyway. Flares are dangerous. They can ignite leaking gas or even fumes from a ruptured gasoline tank from a great distance. For this reason, most police and fire departments discourage flares except as a last resort. Show your driver's license to all other drivers, the injured, and to the police. Copy important information: driver's license and auto license numbers, and the descriptions of the automobiles involved. Snap a couple of pictures if you happen to have your camera with you. Get the names and addresses of witnesses and the injured. Don't discuss the accident with anyone except the police and your insurance agent. Notify your insurance agent immediately of any accident, no matter how slight. It's one of your best protections if someone later brings a fraudulent claim against you. And be sure you know the agent is genuine before you discuss details. State only the facts and admit fault to no one. Sign nothing except for positively identified authorities. If your car damages someone else's car or property and you're unable to locate the owner, leave your name and phone number in a safe but conspicuous place. This is not only a courtesy, it's the law. A driver who flees the scene without leaving identification is just as guilty of a hit-run offense as if he'd run down a pedestrian. Because some traffic laws may vary from place to place, play it safe and familiarize yourself with local traffic regulations. Better still, drive safely at all times. No matter how much you know about taking care of yourself in an auto accident, it's smarter to prevent an accident than to have one.
So that film, 77, captured something that is kind of a rarity, and I found it because I'm I'm an AV geek, so I know a little bit about photo technology, and the young woman had a Kodamatic camera, which is Kodak's version of the Polaroid that came out like 76, 77, and immediately got them sued by Polaroid for infringing on their patent, to the point where Kodak lost, and they had to stop selling it. So it was the Kodamatic, or the EK100, that she had. When I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, I know what that is. Because it didn't look like a Polaroid. It's kind of long and flat. And anyways, in the comments, this film brought up a lot of things about traffic accidents and how they're handled nowadays and all that, which I definitely acknowledge that it's a more tense time, and the police, not always our friend. This next film is Everyday Courtesy. This is a film made for school kids to teach them how to be courteous to others. It's not just all about you and your personal freedoms. This is about courtesy.
We are visiting room 10 to see an exhibit on courtesy. May I present Mrs. Anderson and her son Bill, who is in the class. They too have come to see the exhibit. Let's watch to see if the people actually display courtesy. Watch how Pete and Marion act as host and hostess. They know that courtesy means showing respect, thinking of the other person, real friendliness. When Pete mentions the neat job Bill did on the exhibit, Bill is pleased. That's courtesy at work. You can see, too, that everyone in the class must have done a great deal of thinking about courtesy, and much work to prepare these posters and the rest of the exhibit. Bill is especially proud of his part in the exhibit. The artwork on this large poster, ways to show that we are thinking of other people. We help to make our meetings with other people courteous by using such words as please. Whenever we ask for anything, it shows our friendliness and courtesy if we ask with please. On the other hand, thank you is a simple way to repay those who do things for you. Another expression we need all the time is excuse me. It lets other people know that you are thinking of them when you say, excuse me. Still, another way to smooth your meetings with other people is, may I? If you must interrupt, 2 words will show that you mean well. Simply, may I? Notice how pleasant and thoughtful Mrs. Anderson is as she expresses interest in Bill's ideas on the poster. Bill graciously shares the credit with his classmates. It was a joint project, he explains, during their study of courtesy. While Pete and Marion posed, Bill sketched the action.
Please.
With that sketch finished, ready for final artwork, Pete got ready to play the guest for the next pose. Marion was the hostess, offering him a cookie.
Thank you.
Pete showed that he appreciated her kindness. For the next demonstration, they needed another chair to make a sofa, and they needed a telephone. Joan played the other girl in conversation with Marion. Marion had to interrupt to answer the phone.
Please excuse me.
She was pleasant and courteous herself. In the next pose, Marion had something important to say, or else she wouldn't have interrupted.
May I?
Marion is considerate of her friends. Besides these examples of courtesy, there are others. For instance, Mrs. Anderson's way of constructive suggestion. And notice how Bill begins his reply.
It's really quite good, Bill. But don't you think these courteous ways can be used in more than just these 4 situations?
Oh, yes, you're right, Mother. That's why we put the captions on the poster. We need them all the time.
Yes, we do need these simple expressions all the time to show that we are thinking of the other person. On the table is a scrapbook, especially prepared for the exhibit. It also showed consideration of the other person. The exact form of an invitation letter may vary, but this is an example.
Dear parents, an exhibit of our schoolwork and courtesy will be held in room 10 of the Sunnyside School on May 29th from 7:30 to 9 p.m. We hope you can come. Your friends, the class of room 10.
Notice the details about place, date, and time, as well as a few words of cordial invitation. This type of invitation needs no acceptance, but the class prepared an example of one for their scrapbook.
Dear friends, we thank you very much for the invitation to your exhibit in room 10 of the Sunnyside School on May 29 from 7:30 to 9 p.m. We shall be pleased to see your work on courtesy. Sincerely yours, your parents.
A letter of acceptance shows all the same details to be sure they are correct. There is also a sample letter of regret stating why the person could not accept. On the next few pages of the scrapbook are drawings and poems Pete had made about courtesy when using the telephone. Answer promptly. Don't keep the other person waiting. Friendliness is one of the main parts of courtesy. It saves time and makes your conversation more pleasant if you speak distinctly. It's courteous to be brief. Someone else may want to use the telephone. So much for the scrapbook. Over here is a poster that another student made. Be a good listener. It pleases the speaker to know you are really interested in him. And then, too, you can learn much by listening carefully. Mrs. Anderson is being a good listener now, isn't she? And then there's the matter of introductions. How will Bill introduce his mother and his teacher?
Mother, may I present Miss Barton, our teacher?
See how Bill shows respect to his mother by mentioning her first. Because she is the older woman, he presents Miss Barton to her. And he helps their conversation get started by explaining who Miss Barton is.
It's so nice to meet you, Mrs. Anderson. Bill has told me how much he enjoys your class. He's learned so much about courtesy. How did you teach him to make such a polite introduction?
Perhaps Bill should explain that, Mrs. Anderson.
Well, in our practice in class, we learned that introducing people was just a matter of showing respect. Marion, I'd like to introduce my friend Pete.
Bill mentioned the girl's name first and showed respect by presenting the boy to her. You can mention either name first with two boys of the same age.
Bill, this is Pete. Pete Dalton, Bill Anderson. How do you do, Bill? Hello, Pete.
So the poster that grew out of this practice is included in the exhibit. And that's how the class learned that introductions are really easy. Just remember to show respect. Besides showing respect, your introductions can help the conversation to begin. Notice how Bill's mother introduces her friends, Mr. and Mrs. Hall.
Mrs. Hall, this is Miss Barton, the teacher in this room. Mrs. Hall is Joan Hall's mother.
Miss Barton, as hostess, offers her hand. Next, Mr. Hall is presented to Miss Barton. And finally, Bill is presented to Mr. and Mrs. Hall. Remember the order? There's a technique to shaking hands. No one likes to have his hand crushed by a bear, nor to clasp one like this, sometimes referred to as dead fish. And so the introductions have been completed, and the group settles down to friendly conversation. Well, it's time to go now. What have you seen here? That is, what have you seen besides the posters and scrapbooks of the exhibit? As you watch the host and hostess, their pleasant manner standing at the door to thank their guests for coming, As you see the guests reply graciously, you realize that it's the simple things, being friendly, thinking of the other person, and showing respect that make up everyday courtesy. Real living courtesy has made the evening a pleasure and a success.
So, thank you, Ross, longtime follower of AV Geeks, for the coffee. It's great. I love it. Hooray! I'm going to have to stop. I can't have coffee after a certain point, then otherwise my nervous system freaks out. Yeah, that everyday courtesy. There's something so regimented and tight about it. But those posters were awesome. They were so good. And yes, a full back tattoo would be great. So if any of you are looking to get some artwork over the weekend and you need a high resolution still of the image, please contact me. I am happy to provide you with what you need. All in the name of courtesy. This next film is it's a really fascinating film. It's animated, and I think the company that animated it is actually British. I think it's Haas and Batchelor, and it's brought to us by a life insurance company, and it's about managing your anger and your stress, and it's really good. It's Mr. Finley's Feelings. Enjoy.
I'm Tom Finley, who tells the story of a very important day in my life. You're going to hear me talk quite a lot in this picture, but you won't ever see me. This is where I work. I'm the office manager in the H.R. Burton factory. Right now, as this big day of mine begins, it's almost 5 and about time for me fooling around with a quiz in a newspaper. Here, take a look over my shoulder. Do I like people? Yes. Do I feel refreshed and energetic after a good night's sleep? Yes, most of the time. Would I say I was reasonably healthy? Yes, I have headaches, but then nearly everybody does. Am I on good terms with my boss? Yes.
Oh, Tom, busy this evening? No, sir. Would you mind very much finishing this report? You can work on it at home if you'd rather.
Okay, HR.
Hate to do this to you. Hope you don't mind.
It'll be on your desk first thing in the morning, sir.
I'd appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it, you little Napoleon. Since when did you ever appreciate...
Hey, Tom. Don't forget poker tonight. Count me out, George. HR just unloaded an evening's work on me. Oh, tough luck. See what you're missing? After that, I start through the factory, mad at Burton, mad at missing the poker game. Nine, 16, 24, 42, 96. 9, 16, 24, 42, 144.
Can't you work somewhere else, Jane? You're bothering Daddy. I'm all through now, Mom.
9, 16, 24, 42.
More coffee, dear?
Thanks. 9, 16,
I'm taking
24,
mine black. Saves about 100 calories.
100. Millie, how can I work if you keep on talking to me? Besides, my head is splitting.
I'm awfully sorry, dear. We'll all be more quiet.
9, 16, 24, 42, 88, 107.
Bang, bang! Drop that gun. I'll give you till 10. 1, 2, 3,
9, 16, 24, 42. I give up. I give up. Other men have helpful families, not me.
Sorry, Daddy.
Nobody gives me the least consideration. I'm sick and tired of letting people push me around. Now I suppose he's going to give me the works.
What's the charge, Murphy? Reckless driving. I think we can make that stick.
George!
Millie told me you'd been arrested for reckless driving.
That stupid so-and-so of a cop. Listen, I was driving along carefully, as usual, minding my And to top it off, that sergeant wouldn't even let me open my mouth.
He seems like a reasonable guy, Tom.
So you're going to believe him instead of me?
I thought you were going to spend the evening working at home.
I couldn't get any peace in that madhouse. My headache was driving me crazy. No peace at home, no peace at the office. Burton, he just loves messing things up for me. Standing behind that partition all day long. Spying. Thinks he's Napoleon.
Maybe it's you who thinks he's Napoleon. Why didn't you tell him you had a date?
Try telling him anything.
I think he'd have understood.
Quit picking on me, George. I'm in enough trouble.
Tom, I've known you all my life. You're a great guy. But you do fly off the handle and think people are picking on you when they're not.
What do you mean by that?
Well, even back in school. Remember our third grade teacher?
Gladys Stark. That old battle axe.
Tom, Finley? Yes, Miss Stark. Multiply 5,623,436 by 204,602. Quickly! Hurry up!
Just a minute, Tom. She wasn't like that.
George Fifth. Yes, Miss Stark. Multiply 3 times 7. Take your time. 7 times 3, you mean?
Yes, George.
I don't know, Miss Stark. I've been absent. I missed you.
All right, George. It's 21. But let's go over it again in a few minutes.
She couldn't have been more patient.
Okay, maybe I did have the cop and the boss and even Starkey slightly out of focus. But there is one person who always had it in for me. Remember our old top sergeant, that slave driver Driscoll? He sure hated my guts.
I ran into Driscoll the other day. He asked about you. Said you were the best company clerk he'd ever had.
Did he? For Pete's sake, have I got everybody mixed up? What's wrong, George? Am I sick or something?
Maybe you're making yourself sick. You remember what a mess Bill Jones got himself into last year? Took the doc 6 months to set him straight.
Think I should see a doctor?
Sure, why not? Other people can help, too. You know, it's a good idea to talk things out with someone you like and trust.
George, it was swell of you to come all the way down here. I wish I could see things, people, the way you do. Most of the time lately, it's as if the whole darn world...
Report. 1,244. More coffee. Bang, bang. More coffee, Tom. Bang, bang. More coffee, Tom.
sorry, Tom. I feel like that myself sometimes.
What do you do then?
Well, I blow my top once in a while when somebody really does me dirt, but when I feel mad at everybody, when people all look cockeyed, it's mostly because I'm mad at myself. Maybe I think I've done something wrong. Maybe I'm feeling I'm not as good as somebody else. When I get to feeling good about myself, why, then most everybody else looks pretty good, too.
You make it sound easy.
It isn't easy, Tom. You got to keep working at it. But it sure is worth...
Hello there. What? Both of you?
Gee, H.R. himself.
George just came to see me.
Come on, you won't have to see the judge until next week.
Everything all right now? I must run along. Don't bother coming in tomorrow morning. I'll send for those papers. Bye.
So he fired me. Now who's cockeyed, George?
Say, Tom, don't forget, staff meeting tomorrow at 3.
Well, I'll be...
You've got good friends, mister.
Come on. I'll see you home. Head still ache?
What? No. By golly, it's gone. Well, as George and I walked out of that jail together, I began to see things a little straighter. I'd learned one important lesson anyway. I knew then that a guy could get himself into a whale of a lot of trouble if he didn't understand what his feelings could do to him. I've got plenty more to learn, I know. It's not going to be simple or easy, but I'm sure going to try. Well, now you've seen how things looked to me at the beginning and at the end of this very important day in my life. Maybe you've had a day like this yourself. Maybe I seem familiar to you.
Wow, I'm sorry. I'm triggering all these people. Sorry about that. This last film is probably going to be triggering too, but it's an amazing film, and it's a fantasy. It doesn't really exist. But yeah, I'm sorry that I'm raising people's hackles a little bit. I think we're all a little tender. I certainly am. It doesn't take much to bring me down, etc. But this next film is called Magic House, and it's really wonderful. It's really, really great. So here we go, Magic House.
Here's Bunny. That was good when you played on me that time. Boing, boing, Julie.
Time for supper.
Okay, okay.
Kaki, it's time for supper. And afterward, you can clean up this mess.
Hi, Mr. Tuppy. Look, there's a house. Looks like a strange dollhouse. Looks like a witch's house to me. Let's take it downstairs. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
That looks awfully good.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
It's nice and big. Did you look inside? Yeah.
Hey, furnace is acting up again.
Is it? Well, I'll call that guy tomorrow.
It's not like a big mansion or a church. Well, it is a church, I guess. I like all of the curtains in it. They have a whole bunch of designs on it. Sure. Look, there's a sign. What's it say? This magic house will do for you most anything you want it to. When midnight comes and other Pusher Guts to Keep. Oh, I wonder if it works.
Hi, kids.
Oh, Daddy! Dad!
Sweetie, how are you?
Hi!
Hello, Brian. What's up?
My car needs fixing.
Well, that'll be easy enough to fix after dinner. What time did the tornado hit today?
That. That hit at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll bet it hit at 3 o'clock. Yeah. You always like one-liners. Here's one. What is soft, yellow, and dangerous?
Soft, yellow, and dangerous.
Soft, yellow, and dangerous.
What?
Shark-infested custard.
Ladies first. Mrs. Fraser.
Say, kids, I saw 3 things today I didn't like when I came home from work.
What?
First, there's your bicycle laying upside down in the yard, not hooked up. Then I get in the door, and there's roller skates in the hall, and then I get in the living room, and there's toys scattered
You
all
have
over.
tasks, and you're supposed to do them. How would you like it if I didn't do my tasks?
Well, great. I like
How would you like it if I didn't cook you any dinner?
I like making our own dinners. I love mayonnaise, lettuce, and peanut butter sandwiches.
Oh, now, Tracy.
You've got to take Daddy seriously, Tracy. Everybody's got to help. You've got to all pull together. You can't just live in the house and let Daddy and Mommy look after you like hotel keepers.
You don't have to cook. You don't have to do our laundry.
Who's going to do it?
We can go around dirty.
What if they sent you home from school?
Oh, big wow.
Suppose
be better. We could play. We could go swimming at the little pond nearby. Yeah. And I miss Miss Gilchrist, the speech therapy
Now,
student.
Tracy, we've talked about this sort of thing many times before, so I would like to see you in there right after dinner cleaning those toys up.
We get home, it's either work. Fun. Yeah, if we start just having a little bit fun. Oh, she just Tracy, don't! Tracy!
Hey, pipe down. What is this mess still doing here? We talked about that at the dinner table, and you were supposed to clean it up right afterwards. Now get with it, and I'll be back. Do you understand?
Yes, Dad.
All right, get with it.
If you insist. I wish you'd leave us alone. Yeah. I wish you wouldn't bother us. All it is I wish you just wouldn't bother us. It is just responsibilities. I wish we could wish him away on the magic house. Do you think it will work? Well, we could wish that he wouldn't bother us, and, well, he'd just leave us alone, and maybe he would. Yeah. Because we have to do it when others are asleep. I'm scared. Don't worry, everything will be all right. Magic House, we have a wish. Tell our parents to stop bugging us and stop having us have any responsibilities. Yeah, tell them to not care about anything. Not anything at all. No, what time is it? 8 o'clock. Let's go look. I still don't hear them. Me neither. Do you think they're in there? Mom? Dad?
Come in.
It's 8 o'clock. Aren't you going to get up?
No, not just now, dear, okay?
Dad, aren't you going to go to work?
Oh, I don't think so, Brian.
What about breakfast, Mom?
You get yourself something for me, okay?
cereal or a poached egg on toast. Since we can do whatever we want, how about let's having hot dogs? Hey, look, Santa Claus wants some. Yeah. A day off. Guys, sure fun. Want to play Monopoly after this? Hey, yeah. Why don't we reach down the old chest and get out, how about Don't Break the Ice? More fun games that we haven't seen for a long time. Have a cookie, Tracy. Oh, hi, Vicky. Hi, Bill. What are you doing? Aren't you going to school? Well, we don't feel so very well. Yeah. Oh, well, I hope you get better. Thanks. Yeah, see you. Bye, Vicky. Bye, Bill. Bye. Hey, Brian. Yeah? Do you think we should have fibbed to them? Nah, it will be okay. Don't worry, they won't care. Let's play Batman. Okay. Beat to the living room.
Here's an article about an international croquet match in Rugby, North Dakota. It says right here.
the funnies.
They must be up in the northern part of the state.
Hey, I'd like to see old man Donaldson when you don't show up today.
Well,
He'll probably fire you.
I don't know.
B-A-D. Bad. Z-O-O. Oh, yeah, zoo. Zoo, yeah.
Slang word for stupid person. Well, some of my favorites. What?
Meathead.
That's eight.
Maybe I could put down Pan. Thanks for telling me the letters you have.
Okay, what I do with these?
All right, you know, I was telling you in cribbage you have to decide two of them to throw away to keep the
Let's
best
play
one.
slapjack.
Slapjack's a game for little kids.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I did do one little thing for him, but it was only because of the money. Even when he started crying, I didn't feel sorry.
Sid,
What was that one?
I wonder what they're doing at school today. We were supposed to have a movie.
You told her.
Also a vocabulary test. But who cares?
I didn't know they were just over rice. You want everything perfect. Well, we'll make it right. The rice, too. Use rice. You don't boil it so it always comes out.
Hey, Dad. You gotta go to work anymore?
I don't know, Tracy. I'm thinking about it, but not very hard.
Oh.
People eat lots of spinach and put iron in your muscles. Oh, but did you listen? Isn't that at breakfast? Okay. Here's new iron fortified instant orange flavor breakfast drink. Has more iron than spinach and a frosty orange flavor. The breakfast packs iron.
Brian?
Tastes iron.
Are you having fun?
Iron for your body. Oh, no, with a breakfast drink.
At the Hambletonian Beauty Spa, women pay over $500 a week to be basted in strawberry cream.
Me, can I come in?
Yes.
think the furnace is broken.
Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you care if we ever go to school anymore?
No. Not if you don't want to. Good night, honey.
Good night.
Rebound off to Mr. Haas, restolen, taken there by Ken Strand.
Ryan,
What?
don't you think we ought to take the spell off them? No, we get out to do whatever we want, and now you want to ruin it. We want to watch television? Oh, is there anything to eat? I'm hungry. No. You had some, and I would have shared with you. It was just a little bit in the can. We'll get some more. Doesn't make any difference whether we get some more or not, and you're just getting to be an old, mean, stingy brother. None of it's like it was before, and it's all different ever since we got this magic house. Mom and Dad don't care either. Tracy! Work! Tracy! Now what else? Tracy, no. Look, we can do whatever we want. Tracy, no, we can do whatever we want. Tracy, no. Look at Mom and Dad. They don't care about anything. It's better the way it was before. Tracy go to work? I sure hope so.
Wow. So burning that house, is that going to break the spell, or is it going to make it to where it's impossible for them to break the spell? That's I like the open-endedness of that. I've shown this film several times across the country, and some people, it's resonated with them because it does remind them of their slacker parents and growing up in an environment of that. And somebody pointed out, like, this was the birth of Seattle Sound. Well, this was actually filmed in Washington State. So, yeah, maybe there's a connection there. I'm not sure. What's also interesting is that Facebook dropped out when the father was playing the tuba. So I don't know if it brought a copyright thing or not. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. Those of you that are still with me. Wow, again, it was kind of triggering. I tried yesterday not to be so triggering, and well, I tried today because of yesterday, and I apologize. Yeah, that was not my intent. But thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and feelings, and just being there. And quips. If you can, you can press like and subscribe. You can also donate and get us coffee. Speaking of Seattle. And Patreon is a place you can donate. That's like a tip jar subscription service. But so tonight at 6 o'clock, I'll have a guest. We're going to show vacation home movies and talk about travel and talking about photography. And we get to show some scenes from one of my favorite home movies called Disneyland Dream, which is a brilliant film about a family is winning a trip to Disneyland when it first opened. So that's at 6 o'clock tonight. It'll be at the same places that you normally see this on Facebook, YouTube, etc. If I don't see you, have a good weekend, and we will reconvene on Monday. So take care, everybody. We love you, and talk to you soon.